Let's do the exercise review. I gave you an exercise sheet with two things. That's all, just two things you had to do. And the first one said to come up with 2 points that are inside of each quadrant. So if you picked any place to just put a point, let's say I put a point here, plop, and I said, what is the point and which quadrant is it in? So if I put a point right here, all I basically have to do is say, okay, what's the X value and what's the Y value? So if I basically start at my star right there and I move down to the X axis, that gives me that X value. So it would be 3. 3 comma what? So go back up to the star and this time move in a straight line to the Y axis. That puts us at 4. So the point value for this, the coordinates for this point is 3 comma 4, and they're both positive. So that lands us squarely in quadrant 1. Okay. So you were supposed to come up with 2 points in each quadrant and name their coordinates. Hopefully you got a chance to do that. What I'm going to go over is part B, where it said in which quadrant would each of the points be placed, and I gave you 4 points. So this should be relatively easy if you've already gone through part A. So let's start with point A, where the coordinates are 2 comma negative 8. If I take that star and I start at the origin and I say, okay, well, the X value is 2, so that means move positive 2 in the X direction on the X axis, and then move down, right? Because it's negative, down until I get to the negative 8, and I plop it right there. That's where that goes. So A would be in which quadrant? IV, or 4. Okay. B, point B says -1, -5. Both of them are negative. Can you predict which quadrant that's going to go into? It's probably going to go in 3 because both of those values are negative. So if I start at the origin and I go -1 in the X direction and then -5, I'm going to end right there. Indeed, right there in quadrant 3. Point C, -4, 7. One of those is negative. The X is negative. Can you predict which quadrant that's going to go into? Well, since X is it's going to be in the X direction, negative direction, that means I'm going to be moving left of the Y axis, right? So I'm predicting it'll be in 2 because 7 is positive. Let's see. Put the X on the origin and let's move -4 in the X direction. There it is. And then we'll move up because it's a positive 7. We're going to move up till we get to 7. And indeed, that lands us in quadrant 2. Okay. And then the last one, both numbers are positive. That should be pretty easy. I predict that's going to put us in quadrant 1. So we'll move our star to the right 3 spaces and then up 6 spaces. And that puts us right there in quadrant 1. Okay. That wasn't too hard, right? There are more exercises on this stuff. And there's also an exercise in the links below where kind of like what I did in the lesson, where I give you a point and then I give you directions to move. And then you're going to tell us which quadrant did you land in after following the directions to your new location. That's a very important skill. So take some time to go through that. And I'll see you in the next lesson.